Welcome, everyone, to Session 8, Unit 7, the seal, the solution, lights, and the relatives. The materials for this session, what participants should have read. Before this session, participants should have read Surahs 25, 26, 27, and 28 of the Qayyumu'l-Asma. They should also have reviewed the Unit 6 summary from Session 7, especially the sale of Joseph, Adam, and the new creation, reopening of the Qur'an from its ending, fire and water, passing time, the night of power, and the command to recite. The goal of this session is to see how the hidden mission begins to move outward from after the night of power. In Surahs 21 through 24, Joseph was found but undervalued. The Bab appeared in the Adamic station. The Quran was reopened from its ending. The inward earth was shaken, and the divine decree descended into the command to recite. In Surahs 25 through 28, that hidden investor begins to enter a visible field. Seal, solution, lights, and relatives. In this session, the book moves from inward descent into outward pressure. The night begins to become dawn. The hidden word enters the city. The piercing star opens into constellations. The light begins to move through witness, book, night, and day. Earlier gates, transmission, and recognition. Finally, the revelation enters the Bab's own household, where kinship, family, commerce, writing, travel, and intimate nearness are brought under the test of recognition. Surahs 25 through 28, the seal, the solution, lights, and the relatives. The purpose of this unit. Unit 7 carries the story from inward beginning of the mission toward its first outward social field. Unit 6 culminated in the night of power and the command to recite. Unit 7 now asks what happens when that hidden word begins to move in the world. The seal continues the late Quranic movement through city, dawn, the overwhelming event, the Most High, and the piercing star. The concealed night of power begins to press toward manifestation. The world of the city is addressed. The dawn appears, the star pierces the heavens, the schemes of opposition are measured and shown to be frail before God. The solution brings the Joseph story to the door. The rent garment, accusation, recompense, and the question of judgment. The piercing star opens into the larger celestial order of constellations, witness, throne, promised day, and preserved tablet. What looked like accusation begins to become forensic disclosure. Lights brings forward the witness from the household. Joseph's own answer is no longer silent. It was she who sought to entice me against mine own self. The sign of the garment becomes a test of truth and falsehood. The light moves from witness and garment into book, proof, night and day. Earlier gates, named persons, and the outward transmission of revelation. The relatives brings the unit into the Bab's immediate social world. The Joseph story remains in view through the garment torn from behind, the innocence of Joseph and the speech of the truthful one. Yet the book now draws revelation into household, kinship, marriage, child, commerce, writing, migration, and those nearest to the Bab. Nearness is no longer merely symbolic. It becomes historical, familial, and embodied. These four surahs may be approached as one movement. Surah 25, the seal, begins from Joseph's preservation before temptation. She desired him, and he would have desired her had he not seen the proof of his Lord. The surah moves through the city, dawn, the overwhelming event, the Most High, piercing star, resurrection, unveiling, and the collapse of schemes before the remembrance. Surah 26, the solution begins with Joseph and begins when Joseph and the woman race to the door. His garment is rent from behind, and accusation is made before the Lord of the house. The surah lifts that scene into the glorious throne. Pathways of the gate, the unseen of heaven and earth, constellations, covenant, judgment, imprisonment, and the painful consequence of false accusation. Surah 27, lights begins when Joseph declares that she sought to entice him, and a witness from her household offers the sign of the garment. The surah turns testimony into illumination, carrying the sign of the garment outward through book, proof, night and day. Earlier gates, named figures, and the transmission of revelation. Surah 28, the relatives, begins with the proof that if the shirt is torn from the back, she has lied, and Joseph is truthful. The surah then carries the proof of innocence into the Bab's household and immediate world. The test of recognition enters family, relatives, marriage, child, commerce, movement, and the intimate social setting of the mission. This unit marks the outward advance after the hidden night. The mission has begun to speak. The seal fixes the authority of the hidden word. The solution begins to resolve accusation through sign and judgment. Lights makes testimony visible. The relatives bring revelation into the nearest human circle, where closeness itself becomes a test. Unit 7, fourfold lens chart. This one here we made a chart for. So this is just in the materials. We can skip over that. The 4 guiding lenses for Unit 7. Bill, I was able to blow this up more. Are you able to see this better? You're on mute.
There we go.
Okay.
The 4 guiding
up.
lenses. Okay. The 4 guiding lenses for Unit 7. The first unit gave the pattern openly through kingship, clerics, faith, and city. Unit 2 carried it through Joseph, testimony, visitation, and mystery. Unit 3 moved through cloud, plot, parallel, and atonement. Unit 4 raised the descent through visitation and mystery. Unit 3 moved through the cloud, plot, parallel, and atonement. Oh, I said that. Unit 4 raised the descent through paradise, holiness, divine purpose, and throne. Unit 5 began the movement out of concealment through gate, path, Sinai, and light. Unit 6 opened a new creation through sea, water, passing time, and destiny. Unit 7 carries the mission outward through seal, solution, lights, and relatives. Seal asks what is fixed, protected, and made decisive when the hidden word begins to appear. Solution asks, how does divine proof answer accusation, confusion, and false judgment? Light asks, how does testimony become illumination for the soul and the world? Relatives asks, how does the revelation test those nearest the manifestation? The seal gathers the night into authority. The solution brings the hidden proof to the door. Lights carry testimony into historical recognition and transmission. The relatives draw the mission into the divine, into the living nearness of household, kinship, commerce, and history. Reading lens 1. The mission begins to move outward. Main idea. The governing movement of Unit 7 is the outward advance of the mission after the night of power. Unit 6 ended with the hidden word becoming recitation. Unit 7 shows the recitation entering the world of judgment, city, accusation, witness, household, and relation. This is a decisive shift. The revelation is no longer only hidden in the night, concentrated in the decree, or inwardly received by the remembrance of the Ha. It now begins to move forward. The city must hear. The dawn must appear. The piercing star must announce. The household must witness. The relatives must be tested. The Joseph story carries this movement through the scene of temptation, closed doors, accusation, and proof. Joseph's purity is preserved, but the world around him becomes a place of speech, evidence, judgment, and response. In the Bab's revelation, this becomes the first outward field of the mission. Key themes. The night of power begins to move towards dawn. The command to recite enters history. The hidden word enters the city and the household. Joseph's trial becomes a pattern of accusation, proof, witness, and vindication. The mission now tests public space and intimate nearness. Revelation begins to appear in the world of family, commerce, writing, travel, and social relation. Arabic words, khatam, seal, closure, protection, confirmation, decisive mark. Hal, solution, loosening, resolving, opening what has seemed closed. Anwar, lights, illumination, signs, visible manifestation of truth. Goraba, relatives, kinship, nearness, family relation. Bait, household, household, and closed social world. Gamis, shirt, garment, proof, sign of innocence or accusation. For the reader, Unit 7 should be heard as the first strong outward movement after the hidden vesture of Unit 6. The book does not leave the revelation inside the night. It sends it into the city, towards the door, into the house, before witnesses and among relatives. The mission begins to touch the world closest at hand. Reading question: what changes when the hidden word begins to move from night into city, house, witness, and kinship?
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so that's pretty much the introduction to the four surahs as as a unit. Okay, and this reading lens is basically for Surah 25 here, the seal, and this surah is significant because of its title, the seal, and its contents can help us understand how the Bab uses the term seal or khatam. So it can help us understand terms like the seal of the prophets, and even though it's not definitively defined here, but it's an object in the Bab's hands that he uses. So we can kind of get an idea about how he does so, and like this continues that that movement from from Surah 21, where the backward movement from the Quran began. And so now we're kind of finally moving outward into the cosmos. And I think we're finally going to reach Surah 85. Then that movement ceases, and then another one kind of opens up, but it's less direct, but it's not any less filled. Okay. So Gwen, would you like to read Reading Lens 2, and then we'll read some of Surah 25 together?
Yes. Reading Lens 2, right? The seal and the piercing star. Main idea. Surah 25 begins with Joseph preserved from temptation. She desired him, and he would have desired her had he not seen the proof of his Lord. The title seal gathers this moment into protection, confirmation, and divine preservation. Joseph is not preserved by ordinary strength. He is preserved by proof. That's interesting. The late Quranic movement continues through city, dawn, and the overwhelming event, the Most High, and the piercing star. These images carry the concealed night of power or an outward announcement. The city becomes the field of responsibility. Dawn begins to break the hidden night. The overwhelming event presses judgment into the people. The Most High sacrifices the horizon.
Sanctifies.
I'm sorry, thank you. Sanctifies, the Most High sanctifies the horizon. The piercing star announces the arrival of a heavenly sign. The seal, therefore, does more than close. It fixes the authority of what has descended. The proof is sealed upon Joseph. The mission is sealed with divine protection. The star pierces the sky. Human schemes are shown to be weaker than the divine command they oppose. Key things. Joseph is preserved by the proof of his Lord. The seal fixes purity, authority, and divine confirmation. City, dawn, and star carry the hidden night toward manifestation. The piercing star becomes a sign of cosmic announcement. Opposition schemes against the remembrance, but its house is frail. The seal reveals that God's preservation is stronger than visible threat. The Arabic words katam, seal, the decisive mark, protection, confirmation. Buhan, proof, decisive, divine evidence. Balal, Medina, city, social world, public field of responsibility. Fajar, dawn, first outward light after night. Tariq, piercing star, night visitor, heavenly announcement. Qadid, scheme, plot, designed against the remembrance. For the reader, the seal should not be heard only as an ending. In this unit, the seal is also protection and authority. Joseph sees the proof of his Lord, and that proof seals him against the surrounding danger. The hidden mission is likewise sealed before it moves into the world. Dawn comes because the night has already received the decree. The reading question: how does the proof of his Lord become a seal upon Joseph before outward vindication has appeared?
Thank you. Okay, so we can see here how, it's pointing out several different ways of seeing the seal. Okay, so here we go. Surah 25.
Brad, can I ask the question? I apologize,
Sure.
but in my understanding, seal also meant like a seal of a ring, like an ornament.
Yeah, literally.
Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes.
Also, and how does that fit into this whole thing?
I mean, if it's in, just like he's saying, like as a proof, a proof of authority from a king, because you would sign your document with your ring. You had a certain design on your ring. And so, the document would be sealed. If the seal was broken, then someone read the seal. So that's one way seals has always been understood. And the ring, the connection between a seal and a ring. In English, we say signet ring, but in Arabic and more older ancient languages, one word suffices.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting to see what he says in one case that it was sealed before it moves. And if you look at so the seal is always a seal. It's never not a seal. But if we look at the seal of say the prophetic office, then we have proof of what it is in the same sense. Like it's been sealed, right? Like this is what it is. It's not anything else. That's also one way of looking at it too. And that way is it's being protected. Not that another doesn't occupy that station, but they have to do the same thing. Meaning they would have to produce words that move hearts, that change nations, that enlighten centuries, things like that. And some of the challenge of the Quran is to call witnesses to your word. And so people have to appear and carry on that in a tradition afterwards. So some of the qualifications of the seal are centuries in the making. So
Thank
okay,
you.
so Surah 25, the seal. Thus did she have a desire for him. This is 12:24 from Surah 12:24 from the Quran. Thus did she have a desire for him, and he would have desired her had he not seen the proof of his Lord. Thus did we safeguard him from lewdness and licentiousness, for he is amongst our sincere devotees. And then let's see, we can skip down here to Sandra. Would you like to read verses 13 through 17?
Sure. 13.
And here it begins with, O solace of mine eye.
Okay, I'm just finding it on my side. Okay, O solace of mine eye, say, yea, verily, God hath placed the judgment of those foremost in faith within a seal of red carnelian, and those faithful ones after them within a seal of yellow pearl, and the indulgent ones within a seal of green iron. God hath placed his decree within thy hands, in accordance with the truth. Dispense therewith as thou willest, for God is, in very truth, most sublime, all encompassing. O solace of mine eye, verily thou art the dawn after the 10th night of the sacred month of Ashura. Thou art the witter prayer after the 2 units of prayer for intercession, which God hath ordained within the mother book as a supreme testament. Thou art the days subsequent to the night, which hath been inscribed within the mother book around the fire. Say, yea, verily, I am the prime mover by the leave of God, of the twain points amongst the first ones, the middle ones, and the last ones. Yea, verily, I am the fire within the upright Aleph, stationed between the twain seas, which drowned Pharaoh, Ad, and Thamud, by the leave of God, within one of the twain gulfs, while we delivered Noah, Abraham, and Moses within one of the twain rivers. Verily, I am the mystery within the twain mysteries. Verily, I am the line between the twain lines. I am the reality at the heart of the twain names. When the twain lands are crushed and heaven is opened and the remembrance calleth out between the twain mounts, that day shall be the day of truth, when the Spirit shall appear and the angels shall be arrayed in twain groups. Yea, verily, I have in very truth decreed for the faithful the twain all glorious gardens, and for the heedless I decree by the same judgment of the sun and twain moons, by the nethermost of the twain reckonings. Verily, in very truth, I speak within the twain stations unto the contented soul, standing before the twain gates. O thou contented soul, return unto the sanctuary of holiness from thy one true Lord, for lo, the most great remembrance of God, who beareth the title Ali, is here.
That's good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
What do they mean by twain? Why two?
twain means two.
Two? Okay.
Yeah, it's just an archaic way of saying two. And
Oh, okay. All right.
so
That's what I thought, but I just
yeah, yeah, that's me.
Oh, okay.
That's me being fancy.
All right. I got you.
Okay. Yeah. And then let's see. 34. Okay, so you kind of see how he kind of uses the seal a little bit, and Mark's those foremost in faith, and then just the faithful ones, and then the indulgent ones are the mushrikeen, the idolaters, or those who associate partners with God. And
The
so they're all,
indulgent ones are the ones who associate with God.
yeah, like they make partners with God, like they worship idols. But
Oh, okay.
but I mean, idolatry is is a concept that people don't worship statues. People worship their own ideas.
Hmm.
Okay, so I stretch the meaning into being indulgent, being not just an idolater, but you indulge in things.
Okay.
Period. Okay, you decide for yourself what's right. So if you do that, you're indulgent. Then you're susceptible to indulgence.
Okay, got it.
So it is a negative term. It is paired with non-believers.
Okay.
Okay,
I
so
kind of thought that, but I wasn't sure. Okay.
yeah, I'm refining the translation, but this version is what it is for a reason too. So some of the terms they take on a more of a devotional stance. And also it may be more of a theological explanatory more. There's a lot of interpretive in it. So the next version will be much more refined to the Arabic, but this is a draft. This is a draft version, but it's not necessarily wrong. It's just my take on the Arabic. Rather than from what I know and what I've learned of Arabic, rather than scholarly paths, which is what I'm doing next.
Okay, gotcha.
So right, okay, so yeah.
Could this be an allusion to the twin manifestations in any way?
Yes, it is. The Bob frames a lot of his identifications in a twin fashion, and so it is fulfilling in that aspect because that is what is promised. So
yeah, 18 says to what you guys were just speaking of. 18 says, "Yea, verily, I am the prime mover by the leave of God of the twain points." So
right.
that like he and Baha'u'llah. And then he says, amongst the first ones, the middle ones, and the last ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is he talking about all of the prophets prior?
He's talking about all. I think he's talking about all of time, being all humanity.
All the time, yeah. The
being
first,
from the first
middle,
Adam to the
and the
last.
last, and whoever comes in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And also, like, that's very heavily Shia coded as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like in some of the sermons of Imam Ali, he uses the word twain as well a lot. Things are in twos, and there's also the two C's in the Qur'an that don't mix. That's alluded to. Yeah.
And even still, the design of the word Bob, like we were discussing with the sign of the sovereign, has to do with that as well. And some of the allusions that he made here in that verse 18 kind of indicate that with he is the let's see, on the line between the twain lines. A ba has a dual value, so its value is 2. So if you place a ba on one side and a ba on the other side and an aleph in the middle, you get the word Bob, which is gate. But you get that illusion of twain lines and one line in between them. And so a lot of these are he's the reality at the between the twain names. And the twain names begin with ba. The heart of it is the aleph, the standing aleph. You know how we have this idea of the alpha male. Okay. So the aleph is the same in concept, although at the end of the road is God, not a male. Okay, so it is just and not twisted. Okay.
Mhm.
But it is the same idea. You know, the ideas that we carry around with us in our normal everyday activities all come from a divine source. They all have a divine something behind them. Somebody started it because somebody did it for God. Somebody came after them and twisted it for themselves. But the source of it is God. Okay, so Sandra, would you like to read? Oh, wait, you just read, didn't you? Kayvon, are you able to read or are you like driving?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to read.
Okay. I'll read this real quick and then we'll just discuss it here. It's the end of this surah from verse 34 here. O solace of mine eye, say, verily, I am the piercing star, blazing within the heaven of the celestial throne. And there is naught that ye do, save that there shall come upon you the swift protection of God. Doth not humanity consider how we fashioned them aforetime, when they were as naught within our dominion? Yea, verily, we have fashioned them from the water of camphor, a trickling upon them from the spring of the manifestation through that gate, by the ordinance of the book, in accordance with the irrevocable decree of the Bab. Yea, verily, we preordained the body of humanity from water, a water shared from the twin waters of the twain souls, according to the wondrous spontaneity of the natural order of God, the all-wise, hath created. Verily, God, your cherished Lord, is indeed ever powerful to effect the return through that clay, in accordance with the truth. Yea, verily, we have unveiled the mysteries of the day of resurrection for your own sakes, in accordance with the truth, that ye may bear witness unto the most great remembrance concerning what God hath placed within yourselves of his signs. Verily, he is the true one, and he is indeed ever a witness of all things. Do you then conspire against the most magnificent remembrance of God by concocting a ludicrous scheme, utterly bereft of the truth? By God, verily, all who are in heaven and upon the earth, and whatsoever lieth between them, are, in my sight, but as the frail web of a spider. Yea, verily, God is ever a witness of all things. They scheme against none save their own souls. Yea, verily, the remembrance endureth through God, transcendent and independent of all who dwell upon the earth and in heaven, in accordance with the truth. Okay, so it ends pretty much with reliance on God. You know, because the plot is to get Joseph still is to trick Joseph. Everyone's still trying to trick Joseph, but he's safeguarded from her plots. So, you know, when we scheme against whatever it is we scheme against, it's only against our own selves that we have. Okay. Bill, are you can you read reading lens 3, the solution at the door? Oh, you're on mute again.
Sorry about that. Main idea, Surah 26 begins when Joseph and the woman race to the door. His garment is torn from behind. An accusation is made before the Lord of the house. The story moves from an inward temptation to public charge. The closed room opens into a doorway. The hidden trial becomes a matter of speech, accusation, evidence, and judgment. The title solution is important because the door scene holds the answer before the accusation is resolved. The garment carries the proof. The tear has direction. The sign is already present, but it must be interpreted rightly. The solution is more than an explanation added later. It is the hidden answer placed within the event itself. The surah lifts the scene into the glorious throne, the pathways of the gate, the unseen of heaven and earth, constellations, covenant, promise day, and preserved tablet. The local accusation is drawn into a heavenly court. The garment at the door becomes part of a larger structure of witness. And key themes. The closed house opens into a doorway of judgment. Accusation appears before interpretation.
Sorry.
Oh, the direction of the tear becomes a sign. The solution is hidden within the trial itself. The door becomes a place where false speech meets divine proof. Arabic words, watchwords. Hal, solution, loosening, resolving, disclosure. Bob, a door, a gate, threshold of judgment. Game us, I don't know how to say it. Garment, shirt, sign, evidence. Dubur, door, dubur, back behind, the direction that reveals truth. Sayyid, Lord, master of the house, authority before whom the accusation is made. Baruj, constellation, celestial ordering, heavenly witness. For the reader, the solution teaches that divine proof may already be present inside the crisis. The problem is not always lack of evidence. Sometimes the problem is false interpretation, fear, or the power of accusation. The garment does not speak as the mouth speaks, yet it bears witness. Reading question. What does the torn garment teach about the difference between accusation and proof?
Yes, everything leaves a trace. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing I want to add, I think this is the surah where that long Quran run from the end of the Quran kind of ends. I made it. That's what I was trying to pull up. I made this chart of not of just like the Quran references, because this, I made one of those too, but it had so many blips on here, it didn't make any kind of logical sense. But see how we started at the end of the Quran here in Surah 21. We have 21 here. And then we continued all the way down to, I think, we're in 26 now. All right, that's what 26, the solution. So it runs all the way back from Surah 114 all the way to Surah 85, and quoting consistent multiple verses from those surahs. And then there's kind of a break, and so not so really so many verses, but such strung out along so many connected surahs across so many surahs of both the Qayyumu'l-Asma and the Quran, until we get about halfway through the book. And so we're just now crossing about 25% of the way. So when we get about halfway through the book, it's going to pick back up, and not only then, but then it starts going forward from the Quran. So that'll be interesting to see when we get there, because I have it charted out, but I don't have them all like in these like I do here, like colored. I don't have them colored green. Even in the first quarter that we've just read, I didn't have all of them that way. But it's interesting to see. So we see that there's a logic of the a good logic to the pattern of the quotes from the Quran, not just through Joseph itself, but through the through the other quotes it's making. Okay, so Surah 26, Surah of the Solution. Gwen, would you like to read verse? Well, I'll read verse 1, and then you can read 7 through 12. Okay, this is the verse from the Surah of Joseph. It should be verse 25. So they raced unto the door, and she tore his garment from behind, then approached her magnate at the door, asking, "Is not the resolution concerning one who desireth harm unto thy family imprisonment or a stern punishment?" So here she tempts Joseph, and then she lies about and tries to get him in trouble, and then she's like, "Oh, well, what's the punishment he should receive for harming me?"
Wow.
Okay. And then 7 through 12 should be good.
Okay. Yea, verily, this is the consolation of heaven. within the mother book, according to the statute of the books. Verily, there is a covenant for the faithful today. Nay, verily, this is the true witness from the one true God, within every tablet around the fire, which standeth as the supreme testimony in very truth. Verily, those who have faith in God and perform righteous deeds in the pathway of the gate, these are they who receive forgiveness within the beloved house of God. He is the true one. There is none other God except him, possessor of the glorious throne of he. God is ever knowledgeable, everlasting. He, God, etched the Quran upon the preserved tablet in the glorious form of the most honorable gate. Verily, God, the condition of an object is revealed by the very verse essence of the truth. By the very essence of the truth is all encompassing. Is that where you want me to stop?
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
That one just saying that before anything come into existence, the knowledge of God already encompasses everything about it. So, okay, so this is interesting because here we are moving through that final step of that Quranic run and reaching, which kind of began, in Surah 114, in the heart. And I can pull that Surah up to see. So we saw how this is the last surah, the final surah of the Quran, where this kind of in Surah 21 from the Qayyumu'l-Asma it began this run of quotes, and this surah is there was a verse in a couple of sessions ago when I had translated the banishment ritual. And this is basically the Islamic version of a banishment ritual, or it's a ritual for protection, and is commonly recited in their daily prayers because it's a short surah, and the the protection that it offers through its prayer. So, but here you can see it begins in the heart. And then by the time we're reaching this in Surah 26 now, we're reaching the end of this run where it's quoting all these surahs. And this surah is the constellations. So you see how it moves from the heart outward into the cosmos. And in this surah, this section that Gwen just read, and even the part of the seal that we just read, all the declarative voices, they're starting to come out more than they had in previous surahs. So that the revelation is coming from inside the heart of the Bab, coming outward. And even though we talked, just before the session, a little bit about Mullah Hussein, even though he was the first one there and the first seeker to appear, some of the first people that experienced the declaration are the immediate family and those who know the Bab from his previous state, or any manifestation from their previous state. So the leading from the heart to here and it's spilling out into the cosmos and right before the throne is almost setting the cosmic throne, the celestial throne, right down into the family throne. Okay, or to let's see. Yeah, so it's kind of where like there's we have a domestic hierarchy. Okay, so the celestial hierarchy and here the domestic hierarchy are uniting. Okay, so let's go. Sandra, can you read verses 34 through 38?
34 through 38. Yes.
Starts up here.
Okay. God indeed hath announced through the narrative of Joseph, as they raced unto the door, the lady tore his garment from behind, and they ran into her magnate at the door, waiting by that gate. Yea, verily, we express through the interpretation whatsoever we will concerning the book of God, the mighty, for he, God, is ever powerful over all things. Yea, verily, God appointed me the witness, according to every tablet of the mother book, by the very essence of the truth. Yea, verily, by the hostile usurper is meant the image nigh unto the point of the fire, which hath already run its course. Yea, verily, God hath judged through the mother book against those who introduce deception concerning us, who are bereft of truth and far removed from the gate, according to the condition of the garment of our guardian. They are those who speak reprehensibly unto their magnate before the Bob, just as she spoke. Is not the resolution concerning one who desireth harm unto thy family imprisonment, which hath indeed been chronicled within the mother book?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so here he's explaining the garment, and the garment is relating to the succession from the manifestation into the into either to the family unit and to the outer world itself after that. What is meant by the hostile usurper is the image nigh to the point of the fire. Now, we talked several sessions ago about the fire on the cold mountain and that point of fire, and even the meanings of fire and water, and how ice and snow is temperatures cold, less movement. So the fire here, what he's saying here, the hostile usurper is meant the image nigh unto the point of fire, which had already run its course. Okay, so when a dispensation has run its course, or run through some time, even at the beginning, or even throughout, there's always going to be a power struggle. And at the heart of this power struggle is this hostile usurper. Okay, so Christianity likes to term this the Antichrist, and they like to grab and identify as a certain person, but the book describes it as a spirit. So it is a human condition that we're susceptible to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is what is meant by verse 37, and the hostile usurper, and him being near the point of the fire. And,
Brett, can I? Okay.
Sure. Yeah, you have a question?
Islam believes it's the last religion, but isn't it also in the Quran that every book has its time or appointed time?
Yes.
Okay, so how do they reconcile that?
The end of the cosmos. But I question that, because how would anybody know that it was the end?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the resurrection. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but the Quran still describes that state of people being resurrected. If you were a non-believer before, you're still a non-believer afterwards. So you're still in that state of denial.
Mm-hmm.
Your free will, I don't think, is taking place, because the Quran describes people on the day of resurrection coming to those people who have been resurrected and telling them that, hey, today's the day of resurrection. And they're like,
yeah.
So, there's so many different ideas and concepts, and they don't flow together. And those, in those faiths, because, they're that cold mountain,
Yeah.
and it's a natural condition to be in, right? And it's not because of Islam or the Quran, Muslims, or anybody. It's just because, all ancient institutions are cold mountains. Even in
Yeah.
the Gospels, every time you can read when Jesus, before he gives a discourse, they follow him up to a mountain,
Mm.
and they sit down and they
Yeah.
settle down. And when it's night and when it's day, different things are happening. It's difficult to track, but if you got some pen and paper, you can track conditions and you can track time and those
Mhm.
conditions and those and the time of day and the people and the demons too that are in the stories. They interact according to how you would think people would interact at this time of day. And we all know how people interact during a certain time of day because we live those days every day. Okay, so how you
Mm.
feel at a certain time of day is this feeling. So it's very relatable. It's just a way of reading that,
Mhm.
you know, I don't want to say it's lost, but it's necessary. It's a way of reading,
Mhm.
Holy Scriptures. It needs to be read with those things in context, with the times of
Mhm.
temperaments of people, times of day, things like that. So and that's what we're coming to now. When the Bob comes and announces himself, then his household they're of that traditional religion, so they try to calm him down, shut him up, whatever, rip his garment off, accuse him, and then say, well, what's his punishment? Throw him out of the house, lock him up. So that's
Mhm.
basically what he's getting at here with
Mhm.
with this. And this has always been from the beginning this way, from since Cain and Abel.
Mhm. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to venture out into some other things, and let's see. This is an interesting surah that we'll get into here in Surah 27. Gwen, would you like to read this reading lens for us? You
Yes.
can just read this first paragraph, and then I'll pick up the biographical note if you don't mind.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Reading is for lights and the witness from the household. Main idea, Surah 27 begins with Joseph, when Joseph says, "It was she who sought to entice me against my own self." And a witness from her household testifies concerning the garment. If the shirt is torn from the front, she has spoken truth, and he is among the liars. If from behind she has lied, and he is among the truthful. The story becomes, oh, I'm sorry. The story becomes forensic illumination. The title Light shows how testimony becomes visible. Light is not only brightness, it is discernment. It reveals direction. It separates truth from falsehood. The witness comes from her own household, showing that truth may arise from within the very circle where accusation began. The surah then carries that witness outward through the book, through night and day. Earlier gates, named figures, and the transmission of the revelation itself. Sheikh Ahmad and Sayyid Kazim enter the field as preceding gates, while the hidden night gives way to the illuminating day, and the book begins to move through persons, writings, and acts of recognition. Lights, therefore, become historical as well as symbolic. Illumination passes from the sign of the garment into the living chain by which the revelation is recognized and carried forward.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, biographical note: the earlier gates and the historical audience. Okay, this surah begins to move outward into the household, and it's interesting the figures that he names and addresses in the surah. We'll briefly describe here. Surah 27 moves directly from the symbolic world of Joseph into the religious world immediately surrounding the Bab. Sheikh Ahmad al-Asai and his successor Sayyid Kazim Rashdi are named as earlier gates sent before the appearance of the remembrance. Their teachings had prepared a generation of seekers for the advent of the Qayyim, and many of the earliest believers and the Bab came from the circle formed around him. The surah therefore places the Bab's revelation within a living succession of expectation, preparation, and recognition. The historical field then widens. Mullah Abdul Khalik Yazdi, a learned Shaykhi under whom the young Bab had briefly studied, is addressed directly and reminded that he had already been brought near the most great remembrance without perceiving the full command before him. So this guy here, Mullah Abdul Khalik, you've probably heard some stories of the Bab being schooled and him being sent home and whatnot. So
Yeah.
this was, I believe, this was his teacher that he addressed here in this surah as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Sheikh Hassan ibn Hussein al-Usfar, a Bahraini scholar associated with Bushir, is commanded to assist the word and some of the people to the most pure faith. His father had been one of the Sheikh Ahmad's teachers, joining the older scholarly world directly to the audience now being addressed by the Bab. Okay, so this guy, Sheikh Hassan ibn Hussein al-Usfar. Hussein al-Usfar was one of the teachers of Sheikh Ahmad. Okay, so the Bab addresses him in this surah. So not only is he addressing Sheikh Ahmad here and Sayyid Kazim and his own teacher, but he's also addressing the teachers of his teachers. Okay, so the revelation is now coming full circle. So we're really seeing who his immediate household is. And they are first Mullah Hussein, and then the Sheikhis. Those are the ones who receive the first address outwardly. Okay, not his immediate family, but those faithful, or those who have the standing to be faithful. Okay, so the surah also addresses the eminent Jafar al-Alawi, probably Haji Sayyid Jafar Kashfi. This is not a definite identification, but it's most likely. He's a distinguished Shia scholar and also the father of Sayyid Yahya Darabi. And Sayyid Yahya Darabi was known as Vahid. He would become one of the Bab's foremost followers. The address shows the revelation entering the network of scholars, teachers, seekers, and religious authorities surrounding its appearance. And Vahid was another one, Bill, that appeared before the Bab with many questions in his mind, who lost him, and several tafsir, were written in response to some of the things that he had in mind to ask.
Thank you.
Lights therefore moves from witness into history. Ahmad and Kazim prepare the way. Earlier teachers and contemporary scholars are addressed, and the new revelation calls living persons to recognize and carry the light now appearing among them. Okay, so key themes. Joseph speaks the truth concerning the accusation. A witness arises from within the household. So we see who the witness is within the household. First is Mullah Hussein, and then Sheikh Ahmad. They're all considered here in the household. The garment becomes a sign by which truth and falsehood are distinguished. The book itself becomes a governing proof and measure of response. Night and day become signs of concealment and outward disclosure. Sheikh Ahmad and Sayyid Kazim appear within the succession of gates preceding the remembrance. And light moves into history through persons, writings, obedience, transmission, and recognition. For the reader, lights is about learning to recognize illumination as it enters history. The sign begins with the garment and the witness, then moves outward through the book, night and day. Earlier gates, named persons, and those called to carry the revelation forward. Reading question: how does the witness from the household turn the garment into light? Okay, so the surah here, Surah 27, Surah of Lights. And this is from the Quran 12:26. He said, "It was she who sought to entice me against mine own self, and a witness from her household testified, should his shirt be torn from the front, then she has spoken the truth, and he is amongst the deceivers." Now consider Sheikh Ahmad as the one who comes from the household. And this is what he says. Should his shirt be torn from the front, then she has spoken the truth, and he is amongst the deceivers. And then, in the next verse, he says, he says the opposite. So if it's, then if it's torn from the back, then she lied and he's truthful. So in those witnesses, then we get to discern about the Bab, whether he be the truth or not. So from previous testimony. Okay. So let's read, or also here is current testimony. O solace of mine eye, reveal not from the unseen realm aught that would lead the people to dispute around the gate bereft of the truth. Say, this book is my proof from God. Whosoever willeth, let them have faith therein, and whoso willeth not, let them reject faith therein. By our Lord, the proof of God is indeed the truth, and it is the most magnificent of the signs from God, in very truth revealed upon his devoted servant. And verily the proof of God, aside from this book, upon all the worlds, in accordance with the truth, hath ever been the most eloquent truth. So we're introducing the book to the outer world. Let's see, the addresses are thinking this. Okay, Sandra, can you read verses 14 through 20?
Yes.
14 starts here.
O faithful ones, be mindful of God concerning the word of truth, for God hath enjoined upon Muslims to convey the revelation unto every land. So depart from your lands and summon the people with this most great book unto the sacred land. Should ye be incapable, then write the matter on pure white pages, inscribed in crimson gold ink, and send them unto all lands, from the east of the earth unto the west. For the judgment of God hath indeed been witnessed through that gate, by the very essence of the truth. O concourse of scholars, God hath forbidden you from teaching without this book. So teach the people the ordinances of the book, and renounce the miscellaneous, fictitious books amongst you. For verily the book of God alone is the truth, and he, God, hath ever been a witness to all that ye do. O people of the earth, verily I have revealed the gates unto you during my absence, yet amongst the faithful only a few follow them. Indeed, I sent Ahmad unto you aforetime, and in recent times Kazim, but only the sincere amongst you followed them. What aileth you, O people of the book, that ye fear not the one true God, your eternal Lord? Hath God permitted you to transgress against me, or do ye judge for yourselves by the rule of the rebellious? Be mindful of God, and allow not the vain inclinations rooted in Satan to deceive you. Verily God and his chosen ones are the truth, while ye and that which ye worship aside from God are, by the statute of the book, among the heathen. Ere long shall God judge between me and you in very truth, upon the plane of truth, for he is in very truth just and wise in judgment. O faithful ones, I adjure you by the one true God, have you discovered any judgment from these gates at variance with the judgment of God, the decree of this book? Have you allowed your learning to delude you into faithlessness? Then wait, for God, your cherished Lord, is ever watchful over you, as befitteth the truth. By your Lord we shall surely cause you to stand in the fire upon the path within the land of Sijin, and we shall question you concerning that which your tongues have uttered, that which your hands have wrought, and that which ye presume within yourselves concerning the gates, a judgment from God by the very essence of the truth, irrevocably ordained. Except for those who repent, reconcile, obey the remembrance and the book, and aid the most great remembrance of God in the struggle. These shall indeed encounter me with supreme mercy, as I have ever been ever forgiving, most merciful unto the faithful.
Thank you. Okay, so then here is address another scholar, Jafar al-Alawi. A few others, those other ones we named in the biography are in here. Let's see. I read a couple more verses. Glorified is God and exalted is he above what the deniers falsely ascribe unto him. For he is indeed beyond the constraint of all things, and he, God, is ever mighty, praiseworthy. O my beloved, say by the leave of God the most great unto our servant Abdul Khalik, the scholar. Verily God hath brought thee into contact with his most great remembrance during certain months, yet thou hast not perceived aught of his upright command within his most exalted action. Nevertheless, God hath revealed unto thee a glimpse of his upright command within thy heart. For indeed, God hath ever been a witness in accordance with the truth over you. O my friend, be not anxious concerning what hath escaped thee during the days of the divine presence, but rather approach me with the greatest support. Be unto God as iron heated in the ancient fire, which permitteth not to approach it, save that the love of the most great incinerateth it. For indeed I have seen thee inscribed within the mother book, nigh unto God, amongst the people of the garden, within the vicinity of the gate. So, and I think this was his teacher here he's addressing. So you see how he addresses his teacher. He has some kind words for him, and hopes and high hopes for. And so, okay, and then there's one command in here also to the merchants. I don't know, is it in this? I think it's in this surah. The Bob was a merchant before his declaration, and he had kept records and wrote notes. And so there's one address. It might be in the next. It might be in the next surah. But let's see. He asked them to gather the writings that they have of him and send them because they're the word of God, basically. Yeah, right here. Let's see this. It's in the next surah, so we'll get into it. But it says, "O ye merchants dwelling on land and sea, be mindful of God concerning the most great word, and send unto the most great remembrance at his leisure whatsoever his hands have written, or that which hath been written by his leave unto you during the days of his commerce. For indeed the pages sent forth from his hands are tablets from the realms of sanctity, and God hath forbidden every soul from taking aught thereof except by his most great permission." So, and they actually did send in some. There's surviving transactions of that he wrote before. So there's some of that. So that's interesting. Okay, the last verse from Surah 20:27 was when he said, "She had sought to entice me against mine own self, and sufficient is God and his chosen ones to stand as a witness over me by the most great truth, as befitteth the firm truth." Hmm. Okay. Again, ends on reliance of God. Okay. Gwen, can you read reading lens 5 here? You can just you can do the same thing, and then I'll read the biographical note. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, got it.
There you go.
Reading lens 5, the relatives and the household of the Bab. Main idea. Surah 28 begins with the second half of the garment test. If the shirt is torn from the back, she has lied, and Joseph is among the truthful. The proof is now turned in Joseph's favor. The truth of the hidden one is not established by noise, power, or accusation, but by the sign of God, the sign God has allowed to remain. The title relatives brings the unit into nearness. The Joseph story has already shown that those near the beloved one may fail to recognize him. Brothers, household, witnesses, masters, and relatives all become positions in the drama of recognition. In Surah 28, this nearness moves into the Bab's own world. The revelation touches family, household, marriage, child, commerce, writing, and movement.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we kind of get the idea that the garment was being ripped from you know, the first way it was put, ripped from the front, right? Was that what it was? And now it's okay. Should his shirt have been torn from the back? Okay, so the shirt got torn from the front.
It
He
would have
lied. Then he lied. Okay.
If it was torn from the front, yeah, he would be lying. She would
He
be
lied.
true.
So in that surah, the scholars and the previous dispensation was addressed. Okay, the closing of it. Now in this one, when the other part of the garment, where it said the second half begins moving forward to the future. Will those immediately around him, will they accept the revelation? So before the previous scholars were addressed, those who should recognize him because they should be familiar with who he is, like Mullah Hussein. Okay. And then the other test is for the family, whether they'll accept him or, you know, how they accept how they react more or less to the declaration. Okay, so the biographical note, the Bab's household and relatives. The Bab was born into a mercantile family in Shiraz. His father, Syed Muhammad Rida, died while the Bab was still young, and the Bab's later entrance into commerce belongs to that same family background. After his father's death, his maternal uncle, Haji Mirza Syed Ali, became his guardian. He belonged to the family's mercantile world and later became an early believer in the Bab. Khadija Begum was the wife of the Bab and his childhood relative. Their marriage preceded the declaration of 1844. Surah 28 addresses her within the Bab's immediate household and joins her to the sacred language of the people of the house. Their son Ahmad died in infancy in 1843. Surah 28 refers to him by name while addressing the Bab's wife, bringing the grief and intimacy of the Bab's own family into the revealed text. The mission has entered the house. The revelation now touches those closest to the Bab by blood, marriage, guardianship, grief, memory, trade, and daily life. Nearness itself becomes sacred searching. Key themes, the torn garment from behind vindicates Joseph. The proof of innocence enters the world of household and relation. Nearness becomes historical, not only symbolic. The Bab's family setting enters the revealed field. Marriage, child, guardianship, commerce, and relatives are brought into the mission. Those nearest to the manifestation must also face the test of recognition. For the reader, the relatives brings the grandeur of revelation into ordinary nearness. Family is not outside the sacred story. Commerce is not outside it. Marriage, childhood relation, guardianship, grief, and household speech all enter the field of divine testing. The hidden Joseph is no longer only in the well, the chasm, the sea, the night, or the house of Egypt. He is also in Shiraz, and household, among relatives, in the life of the Bab. Reading question, why does the mission have to enter the household and not only the public world? So should his shirt have been torn from the back, then she hath lied, and he is of the truthful. Okay, so verse 8.
Wait, Brad, can I ask one more? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good because we already read verse 8, so go ahead.
Okay, and that is my understanding is that the Afnan, the descendants of the Bab, were pretty much loyal, and the Aksan, many of them were disloyal to Baha'u'llah. I'm not exactly sure where I got that, but can you confirm that? Is that written down? Did the Bab say that?
There may have been more of the Afnan who have been loyal to the faith,
right?
Than the Aksan. That may be true. I don't know for sure.
I'm trying to figure out.
But there was still a mixed. There's still even a mixed. A mixed perception there.
Yeah.
for the Bab.
Right.
It took some convincing for the, for Baha'u'llah did a fantastic job of converting the Babis.
Mm.
So
Yes.
that's really the thing you get there is the only ones who didn't accept the faith or accept Baha'u'llah in the long run were those ones, who ended up opposite him in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
they didn't come to they didn't bear any fruit, even to this day.
Right.
I've tried to find a few of them, and I could show you the emails, but I don't think you should see them.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so verse 8. Okay, so we read verse 8. That was about the merchants sending in the papers to the Bab. 13 through 18. Sandra, can you read 13 through 18?
Yes. What? I have to read it from, or I have to get to it on my side. What's
Okay, 28, 13 through 18.
okay? I'm almost there. O ye elders and youths amongst the relatives of the most great remembrance. Indeed, God hath decreed upon you, after knowing the most great remembrance, whom hath been known amongst you since his youth until the present day, to migrate unto him in whatsoever land God hath willed for him. I swear by your one true Lord, he beside whom there is none other God except him, were ye to be within his proximity for even less than the twinkling of an eye, in very truth, it would benefit you more than a multitude of deeds, and be more beneficial than all the possessions of the world spent in the way of the one true God. Therefore, yearn for the most great word, and follow not the footsteps of Satan. For God hath called you unto the garden, whereas Satan summoneth none but unto the fire. Indeed hath the decree in very truth been chronicled within the mother book. O assembly of lights, hearken unto my summons in that crimson leaf, upon that snow-white tree, within that celestial circuit of Mount Sinai. Verily I am God, there is none other God but me. I have named this remembrance with two names, which I bestowed upon two of my beloved servants. Upon the throne I have placed the name of his grandfather, Abraham. His father received a name from amongst the foremost beloved ones, and his mother Fatima the pure, that those endowed with insight may bear witness at the dawning place of the righteous unto the mystery of the lights from the presence of the Almighty, the All-Forgiving, he beside whom there is none other God except him, for God hath ever been powerful over all things. O people of the cloud, hearken unto my summons from the tongue of the Bab, this eloquent Arabian youth, who chanteth upon Sinai the melody of the point of praise. God, there is none other God but him. I have treasured thee since the point of origin within pure and sanctified loins until this very day, the point of conclusion as a sacred trust. God hath manifested this youth amongst a company of the noble and pure, that haply none might doubt his cause of truth, established upon the most great truth. For verily, as befitteth the truth, God hath ever been wise and knowledgeable. O thou who art nigh unto the most great remembrance, this blessed tree, reddened with the oil of devotion, hath sprouted upon the point of fire within your lands, yet ye remain unaware of it, unaware of its pure, sanctified attributes, of its true sovereign realities, or its precise and perfect motions. And ye cherish it according to the inclinations of your own selves, apart from the most great truth. Yet before God, it is verily the essence of the proof by the most great truth, indeed signified by the point of fire within the mother book. O thou who art nigh unto that mighty word, confide in him and render assistance unto his cause. For we have forgiven your sins and decreed for you a double reward for your deeds, and ye shall dwell within the sanctuary of holiness and the presence of the one true God nigh unto the gate.
Thank you. Okay, and then let's see here. 21 through 26. I'm going to read 21 through 26. O solace of mine eye, convey unto thy women folk the decree of the most great word, and warn them of the great fire. But give them also glad tidings after the most great covenant of the eternal garden of divine pleasure bestowed by God around the sanctuary. Verily God, the Lord of all the worlds, hath ever been powerful over all things. O mother of their remembrance, verily peace from the Lord be upon thee. Thou hast been patient with the most exalted soul of God. Recognize then the appointed station of thy Son, the most great word, for he is the one who shall take account within thy grave and upon the day of thy gathering. Yea, verily thou hast been inscribed as the mother of the faithful within the preserved tablet by the hands of the remembrance. O solace of mine eye, apprise the pure Fatima from amongst the people of thine house, within the town of the most gracious, of the sacred journey unto the Holy Land during this magnificent year, as permitted for the most great remembrance. For none from his household who are nigh unto that most great are aware, in very truth, of what is implicit within the knowledge of God, and they impart unto the people but a small portion of the knowledge of the book. O assembly of lights, hearken unto the fire, my summons from the point of the fire within this vast ocean of the snow-white Ba upon that crimson land. Verily, I am God, there is none other God but he. Upon the throne have I affixed the concealed name of the beloved from the principal beloved, for the most great remembrance. Thus have I appointed the angels of heaven and the people that Rithon upon the day of the most great covenant, in very truth, to stand as witnesses over the remembrance by the remembrance. O beloved one, who art in the presence of the beloved and favored by my beloved, thou art not as any other woman. Magnify then the bounty of the most great remembrance. Shouldst thou yearn to obey the command of the one true God by the most great truth, discern the most magnificent truth from the ancient word for thine own self, and glory in the seat of nearness with the beloved, the most great beloved of God. Sufficient for thee is this glory, praiseworthy indeed from the all-wise. And be patient with the divine decree concerning the Bab and his kindred. Verily thy son Ahmad is with Fatima the Venerable within the holy garden, in accordance with the truth, for he hath ever been in truth nurtured by divine knowledge. And then, let's see.
Brad, can I ask another quick thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
On crimson, you had the
Uh-huh.
crimson leaf, and then there was another example of crimson something. And I believe that Baha'u'llah said that there is a fierce crimson light surrounding his revelation. Crimson, does that refer to like the blood? And there's a hidden word. Does that refer to like the blood of the martyrs, or is there any special meaning to crimson as you understand it in the writings of the Bab and Baha'u'llah?
Yes, a lot. A
Okay.
lot. Yeah.
Another time. Another
I
time.
can get that together for you though. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just this the last part here about the garment. Yea, verily we sent a witness from amongst her people who testified that should his shirt be torn from the front, he would surely be
Mhm.
counted amongst the liars as a supreme
Mhm.
testimony by the most great gate. But should his shirt have been torn from the back, then she hath lied, and he is amongst the truthful in the estimation of God within the mother book, in accordance with the truth. For indeed it hath been adjured within the mother book through the decree of the gate.
Mhm.
Okay, Bill, can you want to read this one right here, and then I'll pick up. Well, that'd be the end of it
Okay.
here.
Okay.
I'll get the final reflection.
Okay. Reading lens. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Reading lens 6, reading the
Yeah.
4 together. A main idea. Unit 7 moves through 4 connected questions. Number 1, Seal asks what is fixed and protected when the hidden mission begins to appear. Solution asks, how does divine proof answer accusation and false statement judgment? Light asks, how does testimony become illumination? Relatives ask, how is nearness tested when revolution enters the family circle? Together, these 4 surahs carry the mission outward. Unit 6 ends with the night of power and the command to recite. Unit 7 begins with the seal upon Joseph's purity, the moves to the door, the torn garment, the accusation, the witness, the proof, the lights, and the relatives. The movement is explicit. First, divine preservation is sealed before the visible world understands it. Then the crisis reaches the door. Then the sign becomes testimony. Testimony enters the living network of earlier gates, teachers, seekers, and named persons. Finally, the revelation enters the household and the near circle of the Bob's own life. This unit therefore teaches the first social form of the mission. The hidden word does not remain hidden. It speaks, moves, is accused, is witnessed, is vindicated, and enters relation. The same revelation that descends in the night must also pass through city, door, garment, household, family, commerce, writing, and history.
Okay, go ahead and finish now.
Okay, unit. Unit 7 is the movement from hidden investiture to visible relation. The night has received the decree. The mission begins. The seal protects. The solution answers. The lights reveal. The relatives test nearness. The hidden Joseph begins to stand in the world of witness. Reading question: how does Unit 7 move from the Bob's hidden mission into the social world of witness, family, and recognition?
All right, I got this part here. I'll do this one. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Okay, final reflection for Unit 7. Surahs 25 through 28 carried the Bob's mission from hidden investiture into outward relation. The seal gathers Joseph's purity beneath the proof of his Lord and carries the concealed night towards city, dawn, the overwhelming event, the Most High, and the piercing star. The solution brings the story to the door where accusation rises and the rent garment silently bears the answer. Light turns the sign into testimony and carries that illumination outward through the book, night and day, and the earlier gates, named persons, and the historical transmission of the revelation. The relatives bring the revelation into the Bob's own household, where family, marriage, child, guardianship, commerce, and intimate nearness are touched by the mission. Joseph is preserved, accused, witnessed, vindicated, and brought into relation. The Bob is not revealed only in cosmic images or hidden degrees. The mission enters the city, the door, the house, the garment, the witness, the family, and the world of ordinary human nearness. The hidden word has begun to move outward. The dawn rises from the night. The star pierces the sky. The household itself becomes a place of recognition. Okay, looking ahead, Surahs 29 through 32. The main themes, the celestial maidens. The next unit begins with Surah 29, the celestial maidens. After the mission enters household and relation, the book opens into a heavenly feminine register of paradise, adornment, veiling, beauty, and sacred disclosure. Watch how the maiden may carry beauty, revelation, paradise, and the hidden glory of the youth. Look for the number 72. The report, Surah 30, is the report. After witness, the household testimony report becomes a major theme. Watch how speech, news, judgment, hearing, and transmission become tested. A true report can carry revelation. A false report can carry accusation or concealment. The most mighty. Surah 31 is the most mighty. After a report, the book gathers force, authority, and divine might. Watch how power returns in a higher register. Not the power of accusation or social nearness, but the might of God's cause. And the living. Surah 32 is the living. This title begins to move toward life, vitality, spiritual animation, and the power and the living power of the word. Watch how the revelation gives life after testing speech, relation, and authority. The story moving forward. Unit 7 brought the mission into witness, household, and relation. Unit 8 begins to open the heavenly and social consequences of that entrance. The maiden appears, the report is tested, might gathers, and life begins to move. The hidden word has entered the house. Now beauty, speech, power, and life begin to unfold around it. Reading assignment for session 9. Read Surahs 29, 30, 31, and 32 of the Qayyumu'l-Asma. As you read, mark any places where the story moves through beauty, report, power, or life. Watch especially for the celestial maidens, paradise, veil, garment, report, speech, hearing, most mighty, living, gate, fire, water, remembrance, and the Arabian youth. Watch especially for how the mission, having entered the household and circle of relatives, now begins to radiate into beauty, testimony, power, and living response. All right, that's all that. Y'all have any questions or any other discussions?
No. Thank
I'm
you.
good.
I had a lot of them on the, a lot of nearness to the Bob here.
All right.
Well, thank y'all.
Thank you.
And I hope to see y'all next week. We will
Bye.
hit up Unit 8.
Okay, go.
Thank you very much. It was fantastic again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, all.
All right. Well, hi, everybody.
Goodbye. Good night.